How's it going? It's man tomorrow here. I had something come up later on, so I'm gonna I have to do this now with all the notes that I have now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna be able to do the actual show now. That should be later on for 10 o'clock. We're gonna do it now. Sorry about that. You know, when you got a ton of things going on, man. I'm just I gotta go out here and fix some things out here. So we're gonna talk about this actual thing out here because I'm going to tell you within this live stream why it's important. It was the other title overall, but I wanted to change it into this. So that way we can keep dudes who are in their 50s and their nonsensical information that they don't have a success track record of from actually teaching the youth anything. Because I'm going to start going after these older dudes who are practicing this nonsense within the environment. So give me a couple minutes while we get some people in here because I know they plan on being here later on. So that's way we can get some people in here. We'll get started in 3 minutes. Make sure y'all like the video among coming in because we got some dark web things going on my channel that I figured out. And those people will be in a lot of trouble coming soon. Yeah, you ain't that slick. You're always going to get caught one way or another, one time or another. So you have to understand it was going to be called the Power series of practicality, but it kind of meshes together with what I'm talking about right now. You have to understand that within this environment, since the actual goal and the actual end goal of men within Black America is to gain the respect of uncultured women within the society, all thought processes, all things that are being taught within this environment are centered around you surrendering your position to have choice within the environment. That's right. Nobody wants you having choice within the actual environment in order to move forward. You have to understand that rather than sitting around here trying to be chose or be the choice of people who don't know how to choose as your standard of masculinity, what about when you choose for yourself? You have to understand that a man's choice weigh heavily more than a female's choice. The choices that women make within society are non-consequential. Your ability to be socialized into your decision-making process, to be the actual choice of people within the environment, is not something that should ever be entering your head within the actual environment, especially as a man. As a man, you don't have a court system that's going to protect you, other men in society that's going to protect you, other women, cultured ones who's going to rise up and protect you. Nobody's going to protect you within this environment. This is why your choices matter more than other people. But you have to realize that the more times you make a choice that is inconsequential, within the environment, that you don't care about the actual future ramifications of within the environment, you actually surrendered yourself to those people within the same environment. This is why most of these things were based on the actual proverb to which the actual graphic shows. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. You can only go together once you share the same type of environments and structure within the environment. So when you have failed 50-year-olds who come back trying to be the coolest dudes on the block within the environment, they're already going together. They're going together from the future to circle back to the past to create the future to where they're relevant. But only those things are going to be able to happen within society and the environment just so long as you value the things that they value. Anybody who talks about game, they're never real certain about the outcome. Why? They don't want a certain outcome. They want the ability to be on the market for to the ever inside the society and the environment. They want the excuse mechanism in place to where they can keep repeating the same failures of yesterday to give light to the fire of where they are today. You have to understand that that's not the way things work. You have to understand, as a guy who's far younger, or maybe even older, that you have to be honest about how you got where you got. Like, I learned this lesson like pretty early when I was in the military, that I didn't know that everybody could have joined the military when they were 17 years old. I didn't know that most of these people failed out of corporate America. I didn't know that most of these people were trying to escape the problems of their environment within their actual environment, as I was. I'm going to be completely honest with that. But they were trying to put the fact that they were in the same position as you because they were older within the same position as you to look like they had a hell of a lot more experience than you did, when the only thing they had more experience as was living longer on the planet within the same environment. Now, that is not supposed to be a level of success for anybody. But at the end of the day, I had to wait a while to see that part of the actual position in actual America. I had to wait to see why there were 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds. And they were no different than the game guys and the dudes who do all the same things within the black environment of YouTube. It's quite easily most of those guys could have had a YouTube career. They lied about everything that was going on in their life. everything was going not their way, but they freely walked into the consequences that they knew, or maybe that they didn't. But they used those excuses to actually verify where they was in society and life, rather than learn from those failures within the environment and avoid the people that actually make up the failure within the environment. They freely fed themselves into the actual same environment because they thought they had a little bit more information from failed guys who went through the same thing. But once they got to their level of failure in the environment with the exact same so-called better information, they didn't even admit that they failed. They failed in it. This is why you see so many 50-year-olds on YouTube right now trying to make it look like they got everything under control. What's going on, TPOT? So you have to realize that me in my early 40s, I've already seen this throughout my life in society. Anybody who claimed that they got game within the actual society, the game that that person is actually defined by is a game to be avoided, not practiced. Because at some point in time in society, you got to grow up and grow beyond the actual older individuals in society, both men and women, before you actually go out there and compete with the dominant society and culture in the environment. This is why I never trusted or even paid attention to people who talk about immigration. What's going on, Linnell? Because when immigrants get here, they can't go into IT environments unless they were specifically brought over here to do so. And if the families that they create with the women that they bring over here are something that you need to pay attention to, those people don't have the ramifications of game within their actual environment. No one out here is practicing game on the level that we are doing within this environment. You have to understand that the game they want you to practice is a deliberate failure of their actual masculinity, the actual abdication of looking at things in a different way that they obviously should stay away from. That's what happened within the environment. The game is to be avoided. Do you want to be the next guy getting married at 50 years old? Being out here that long while other people lap you around the track because they moved on to better things earlier? Is that what you want? Imagine if you're 18 or 19 years old right now. You got attached to a complete failure in society right now who's trying to normalize the actual things that are going on in society right now rather than tell you to avoid them. You've actually brought failure on to a new generation of people by actually believing these individuals within the environment. This is why I never believed pro-blacks. This is why I actually learned about most pro-blacks by reading Mein Kampf. In reading that book, I understood exactly why those people went to those personnel. I recognized what the white version of Black Pill was doing to white men. The white version of Black Pill is the same version of game to black men. It's identically the same, getting you to concentrate on things that has nothing to do with you being a better man in society, but surrendering yourselves to a choice by another person. I keep telling you, this game is to be avoided. There is no reason, there is no rationale within society to why this stuff needs to be practiced for another generation. We have too much numbers on hand in society where we keep practicing failure in the environment, expecting success from it. But what you have to realize is practical application. That's the only thing that matters right now. Practical application. If you get the respect of somebody who don't know how to choose, there is no practical application of that going forward. There's no practical application to that. There is no practical application for 50-year-olds trying to normalize and not say a word to street culture within society. There is nothing for a 50-year-old guy within this environment talking about the shadow world and body game and stupid shit like that when you ain't got one. Because, see, when you think from an aspect of emotionality, you get caught up in image more than you do practicality. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to weaponize your upbringing and your sexual ability against you within the environment. While the other people in the society who don't have the problems that we have move ahead of us. The people who are within advanced age acting like they're young men within the environment and trying to minister to them, what is their success rate and pattern within the environment? I'm part of the transportation industry. Yeah, I've been here for a while. And guess what? When you're here for a while, you're supposed to learn stuff and make a logical progression. There's no logical progression within the environment trying to gain access to people who don't respect men within the environment. And this is why they always come at you with how much they got women figured out. And then you get pushed off into these other things. Why? They weaponize your sex drive against you within the actual environment. No one ever taught you that the game is to be avoided. My grandfather told me never to play games, grown folks' games, on new groups of people, because you will be beneath those people if you play them within the same environment. What is the level of success within the environment to which you are actually practicing? You have to understand how practicality works better than actual emotional thinking within the environment. How is that going to be able to help you to get the respect of somebody who don't respect you within the environment? Now, how long are you going to be able to keep it within the environment? How are you going to be able to compete by not going after the actual skills within the environment that everybody else is freely taking advantage of within the environment? You got people who got barely running water and actual electricity who can study the same things in books today and come to America off of a work visa and make it past you within the environment. How that happened? Is it immigration, or is it you want an artificial low bar for you in the environment to stay the same? Immigration or no immigration within the environment, if you don't take advantage of the opportunities within the environment, regardless of your level of skill, you're still going to be behind in the same environment. How come everybody who you want to talk to doesn't talk about these things within the environment? It take a lot of people never to be raised around strong. Like, dude, people who are raised around strong father figures, they don't have problems with attracting women. Why? That man would tell you what you are to go after and what you are to avoid within the environment. That's what the $5 super chat on TPLT. But this is what we are within the environment. We want to normalize street guys. We want to normalize 50-year-olds who's trying to be famous at the end point of their life. Like most people try to be famous at the first beginning of their life. They don't wait to minister towards broken people with broken instruments that they're waving in front of other people within the environment. That's a level of male usury. Like Black America has always been ran off of male usury within the environment. Why should you be worried about what has been women over the age of 25 within the environment who never respected you at all, but now need you to so that way they can have their actual continued survival within the environment? Why would that matter now? Why is that a conversation that you need to watch go on and on now? You think a person who learned all of that stuff is somehow going to be tamed by being shamed in the wide open within the environment? No laws have changed. No rules have changed. No situations and circumstances hasn't changed. So now you got people who went from trying to be seen by somebody who should actually look at them with a level of value while they don't give value to the other person within the environment. You got people here right now. This is nothing but a microcosm of how Black America will work within 5 years. You're seeing it right here, right in front of your face. Men having to worry about unfeminine women. Men trying to dress up horrific choices in women as if they are to be taken seriously right now within the environment. People who claim to be skin color based pro Black without pro Black outcomes. It makes a lot of sense why the women don't want to see the other women fall behind, because they're actually are graded on in the culture by the success or failure rate of those women. It makes sense for women to be community minded. It does not make sense for a man to be community minded, because for a man, his community starts with his household. For a woman, her community starts with how many people that she give herself away to within the environment. Those are the things I was taught coming up. It made a hell of a lot of sense. It was very practical within the environment. There was no hashtag out there talking about certain type of women are winning. There was none of that. If you was one of those people, you were to be avoided. You were not to be taken seriously. You were not to be listened to. And you didn't have an earth of people that you could actually feed up off within the environment. All these dudes who got game, they're all failures. Why? Specific outcomes has nothing to do with game. Specific environments has a track record in actual level of input and output. Game is about intentions that you never live up to at the end of the day. That's what the game is about. And people say, well, you ain't had such success with these women with the environment. Dude, I'm proud not to have the success of people within this environment. I'm telling you that there's nothing wrong with not being the eye of uncultured people within the environment. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the standard everywhere else. You're not supposed to go around bragging that your house is the easiest one to be robbed within the environment. That's what it's like having game or pretending that you have game. This is why this stuff is very binary. One or the other, right or wrong. Can you see the end of the path to which you're actually teaching from, right or wrong? Do you have, because if you're teaching from this stuff, you better have an ability to show off your actual results within the environment. Me personally, I'm not trying to be good at uncultured things. I could just avoid them. Because everybody else who's moving way past us, they're not worried about formulating families. They're not worried about all this other stuff that we're worried about within the first world context. They're not worried about those things within the environment. 50-year-old failures, they're not able to speak to the youth. They have no access to the youth. I've seen older individuals walk up to children with straight A report cards and tell them that they ain't did anything. Why? Because it isn't able to be weaponized against them, and it's not able to be useful towards them within the environment. Failed men are socialized at the bottom of Black America. But if most people are trying to weaponize and socialize most Black male failures in the Black environment at the bottom and never teach you about the people at the top, what do you think we're going to get within the environment? You're going to get the same thing that you got now within the environment. The same thing. Because a lot of people want to be comfortable where they currently are within the environment. They want to make it seem like it's very easy within the environment. So if everybody within this environment got so much experience with things that they should stay away from, where are the men with the actual experience about things that you should run toward? You want to know why you never meet them? Because they left all this stuff alone. You got to go seek them out. You got ex-pimps, 50-year-old failures on YouTube trying to counsel men on situations that they helped set up. You have to understand that you have the same power that they do to remake the world within your own image within the same environment. They remade the world within their image. They remade the world with their image. The actual results of the actual environment is the world remade within their image. They took away Black success and turned into Black mediocrity. in 2 generations. And then they turn it from the position of you not actually chasing after an uncultured person within the environment as the actual rationale of why you're failing within the environment, where you're actually succeeding within the environment itself by avoiding the things within the environment. What's going on, Asian? What's going on, Lana McTown? But this is where we at within the environment. No one has been truthful to you to tell you that the game is to be avoided, not to be practiced. When have you ever heard a game guy tell you that? Most of these people come here, they have a singular focus. Most of the Africans that I was around when I was going to school, these people were still able to live with their parents while they were in school. They didn't have to have a second job or anything like that. I did. Because culture is about protecting the youth from the outcome of failure within the environment. That's what culture is supposed to do. Culture is not supposed to normalize failure within the environment. That's what you have going on within the environment. Who won the game? What does the game look like? What does the winning of the game look like? What does the winning of uncultured women look like? A broken family? But see, you have to realize that this inability to stay away from this one product is the greatest source of their failure. The greatest source of their failure. If you can stay away from the dudes within the environment, teaching how well they are good at the woman within this environment, if you were to dodge those 2 things, you would have a great outcome. That's how those things work within the environment. The game is to be avoided. The game is to be academic. The game is not to be privately practiced. The women of the game is not to be passed around to anybody. The game of the women that the men are based on their game, they should be avoided as well. They don't even care about feeding you to their past failures. But in 2021, we take conversations to the place where they can't follow. That's what 2021 is about. That's just why my old information and content is not up. Because we're moving past all that, telling men how to get past all that. And guess what? If you don't want to be the lucky ones who don't understand how the actual society can be better once you start remaking the world in your own image, just like they did, you think it doesn't take a lot of trying to be a 50-year-old failure within the environment? You really think that? You really think that your only contributions to the environment is to normalize uncultured behavior within the environment? Anybody can fit into that. It doesn't even take any type of resolve as a human being to be into that. What's going on, Sigmund Jones? You have to understand that saving and preserving oneself, you have to be the one that be the Negro scribe of alerting younger generations about how it was and how you got past it. That's what's missing within the Black environment of Black America. Nobody is talking about how they stop messing with X to go to Y and Z. No one is talking about that. No one is talking about how making better decisions early is going to lead you to a better result in the future. No one is talking about that. Everyone is talking about how they got here by glad handing and greasing palms and not following a particular skill and process once they got within the environment. And they're not even above where they're actually practicing it, they're far below it. This is why so many of these people are getting out of prison who really messed their lives up thanks to the actual 94 crime bill are online right now trying to sing sad songs about how you should care about them within the environment and how they should be fed before actual young kids inside the environment because they didn't have a chance. The game is to be avoided. The women of the streets are to be avoided. All this stuff is to be avoided. You should work on being productive first and not handing it off to all the things that you thought that you was going to be missing out on second. That's what you need to be doing within the environment. Moving forward and learning a new skill is going to bring you a hell of a lot further than most people within the environment. Because a lot of people have decided to socially retard themselves so that way they can be able to stay relevant at the bottom. This is why all the information is at the top of the bottom because everybody wants their idea and strategy to be the cool uncle, to have all the information to tell a child about how to be far better than them, but never give the information to them. Everybody wants to be that guy within this environment. I knew when I decided to be a representative of SYSBM, the exact type of guys who were never going to listen to it. Those were the guys who were doing good within this environment. The guys who were satisfied within this environment. The guys who are satisfied with the actual outcomes right now within the environment. Thanks for the $5 super chat, Renaissance man. Yeah, they got to eat, but there's plenty of earth and water at the bottom of that well that we about to kick you off of, right? But this is where we are within the environment. Everybody's trying to find a forever home for a ran through within the environment. It's crazy. I don't care. I'm trying to take all their UBI money away from them, checking for you as soon as they get it. I don't care. If that's what you want to wait for, you go ahead. I'd rather it go to UBI than to the Defense Department, and I'm in the defense industry. At least you can see the tangible people who's actually getting the money. But this is what we are within the environment. Most people who you see who are talking don't have a right to speak. They think that the outcome of Black America is based on entertainment. It's not entertaining to act like you're good at uncultured women. That's not entertaining. It's not entertaining to actually act like you're past this stuff when you're actually dependent on it for your actual success within the environment. That's not entertaining. It's not entertaining to watch people within the environment walk into abject failure and you know you have the answer and you haven't said anything about it. That's not entertaining. YouTube was not supposed to be people's rap careers because they fell out of society and life. That's not what this was about. This was supposed to be about normalizing good decision making within the environment, warning people about the failure within the environment. That's what it was supposed to be about. But it just turned into something else because the audience wanted to turn into something else because most of the audience in a failed society are nothing but failures themselves. Go on, Sir Anthony. This is why the game is to be avoided. You want to know why the game is to be avoided? Because you don't have time to practice failure till you get to be 50 years old and hold this information away from the next generation beneath you. This is why you are to dodge the game. Thanks for the $5 super chat. I don't think I understood the context, or maybe I'm thinking in another language. Yes, like here's the thing. Snuggle668. Like the consequences that you don't face are to be consequences that you celebrate. The consequences of other people within the environment are things you should stay away from. I did eventually. Yeah, I got it. Actually, I'll return that other super chat to you. I don't know how to do that, but I'll do that once this live stream is over. But yeah, you have to understand that you have to get out here and compete. You don't have time to be worried about immigrants. You have to get out here and compete. And I don't give a damn if you are an immigrant. I want you to do the best and the most that you could possibly do within this environment for the people who are not doing what they're supposed to with this chance that you've been given within the same environment. I do want cultured, intelligent, principled people to outnumber the people that we have now, no matter what they look like. That's what I want. This is why this game is to be avoided. Because the people who have failed upwards in this specific model of this game that they think that they're good at, they require stagnant men who don't care about choice in order to join them later on. They're trying to socialize failure as normal within the environment. This is why they cannot make it, have a conversation with, cannot fellowship with, cannot produce with other people within the other environment. You want to know why that is? They don't fit in. All right. But this is the actual thing that you need to actually socialize into your son, if you have one, or your daughter, if you have one. This whole thing about a big ass family and things that you actually control, you have more control when you have self control. You don't have more control when you're trying to strike the match on these people within this environment who do not respect you. Again, the game is to be avoided. It is to be studied alongside you doing the right thing within your life. It is to be an academic lesson on what not to do. You are not supposed to be the next 40-year-old, the next 30-year-old, the next 25-year-old, the next 50-year-old within this environment who's upholding the level of what is considered to be success within this environment. It's been too easy to socialize failure within Black America. because you have the future failures who come back to the beginning of actual people's productivity, trying to socialize failure as normal to people within the environment. I'd rather deal with immigrants who know how to act than people who look like me who don't. I'm not afraid to say that. I'd rather deal with people who can normalize business within the environment, because within business, you need a set of principled people in order to make this stuff work within the environment. I don't need skin color in order to feel successful. What's going on, Game Changer? I'd rather have the environment of people who I can work with rather than people who I cannot. This is why you've been socialized into treating basic things like it's extraordinary, and the extraordinary thing like it's damn near impossible, and unacceptable things why it's normal. This is how all these things slid from one rung to another, because you was not looked after or by older people within the environment. I'm telling you that you need to make sure that you're not being the next 50-year-old guy within the environment, trying to normalize failure within the environment. This is why this stuff is to be avoided. Game Changer had a video last week of a guy being given advice to by two older black men who tried to give quote unquote game to an absolute person within the environment that he never should have been with, probably never should have had a kid by, and that person ripped that dude's head off. That should have been the actual end of that person's YouTube career. Right there should have been the end of it. But you have to understand the level of the beginning and the end system of what you're actually looking at within the environment. For instance, it is incumbent on you to know what success looks like of whatever you're trying to actually pursue within the environment. What a successful relationship look like within the environment? What a successful career path look like within the environment? What a successful mentor look like within the environment? And actually, the most important thing within the environment, what the actual successful input and output is within the environment. There is no game equivalent to hard ass work. There is no game to that. Me, I'm from Mississippi. Hustling meant get your ass out there and perform your actual task as much and as better as you could actually mean it. I didn't know that hustling meant all this other stuff when I went to other environments. I didn't know that hustling meant scamming. I didn't know that hustling meant keeping my mouth closed about wrongs within the environment, so that way I can watch them grow within the environment, so that way I can find a way around it, so that way I can be able to monetize within the environment. That's not what I was taught. What's going on, Art? You have to understand that if you keep taking chances on things that you should be avoiding, those things become normal in your life whenever you get your stuff together. Let's say you kept this unacceptable stuff around. Once you got your choice and your stuff together, the choices that you made all the way up into the point to where you were successful, you actually have normalized those people in the environment for another generation. What's the outcome? What's the track record? How do I compare this stuff to other people who are doing well within the same environment? To me, that's what separated game from actual results. I actually wanted to be around to look at my work so that way I can be sure that I did a good job. That's not what game is about. It's about hustling your way in and out of a situation before you're able to answer for what you actually did with the environment. I understand. You're like, oh, I got biology and I got to be able to. No, you don't. It's not. No, you don't. If you were to get falsely accused of some type of crime and you had to do some type of time, yes, you'll be put in a situation where you can't practice that stuff within the environment, obviously. I'm not going to be a water carrier for failures within the Black society. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to remake the world in my own image as a man of tomorrow. My tomorrow don't involve these people in it. And I'm not afraid to say so up front. I can afford for uncultured people's opinion not to mean anything to me. I can afford it. Why? I paid a hell of a lot more on the track record of my own, so that way I don't have to worry about these people. What's going on, Marco? And you got to do the same. I don't want you getting eaten up by bed bugs in Louisville, Kentucky in a veteran shelter before you figure this out. Because that's when I figured it out. I don't want you going through that. I want you to know it now. Because there's no level of success that anybody who has ever claimed the G word that can be actually established within the environment. They can't show you any of that. Then the actual success rate of them was for you to keep their secrets about the process within the environment. The correct application only needs to be demonstrated with a track record and practice once, not multiple times, not multiple times within society, not multiple times. You ain't got time for multiple times. You ain't got time for this. They got all the time in the world because they're trying to figure out a way that they can dress up the actual non-success that they have within the environment as actual success within the same environment. That's what they're here for. This is why they won't. This is why their faces are everywhere. This is why the graphics and all this they want to wow you out of control with stuff that's not possible. A track record is very easy to demonstrate. How could you be teaching all of these things from a level of endpoint that you cannot demonstrate? You don't know how many emails I get from people online. Is this a good business decision or not? Most times it's not. It goes along the same type of thing. Where did you get this information from? I ran across it. Who did you run across it from? I ran across it from this individual. What is that individual's track record? Oh, I never thought about that. So you mean to tell me that you just heard about the money that you can get, but you don't understand the actual way that you can actually get it? And that's what got you here? Trust me. I want you to understand what I'm saying. They are preying and they are dependent on weak men. Both the women and the men within the environment, they both feed upon weak men within the environment. They are hoping like hell that you will fall for the image rather than actual tangible. Most people of other cultures, they don't fall for the image. Why? They're not taught that there is no such thing as risk. There's always risk in every single choice that you make. There's risk in everything. This is why this stuff is to be avoided, not engaged in. It is to be learned about, not practiced. It is to be seen other people fail by while you're on your own timeline and track record, not doing the same thing these people are doing. What type of person over the age of 18 years of age who want to be cool with everybody in this type of environment who don't want to teach you about what to dodge within the environment? What are they trying to set you up for? What are they trying to protect you from by not giving you the information up front? What are they doing? These people are feeding you to abject problems that they can't even solve as their actual aside of how they made it in the environment. There is nothing wrong with what I think. There is nothing wrong with what I've practiced. There is nothing wrong with the success and the outcome that I've received by leaving these things the hell alone. I know how to be around and not in. I know how to be by, but not engaging by these people. You have to understand that you have to preserve you within the environment. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to do it for you. And no matter what it is you do in life, it's still going to come down to the same primary lesson of self preservation. Those people who got child support and all this type of stuff right here, you think they don't wish they would have tricked on that woman one time and been done with it? But they're trying to teach you how to earn worthless things so that way you can end up in the same worthless place that they are. Thanks for the final super chat. Weak insecure. Stay whining about not getting submission for females and how unfair paying child support. Yes, they do both of those things in the same breath. They tell you that you're not a man unless you go through hell and high water with these uncultured people. This is crazy. No, you can actually say, look, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get me a skill that's going to put me in a certain economic strata, and I'm going to keep all my money to myself, and I'm going to go somewhere else where I ain't got to worry about these start off conditions. There's nothing wrong with that. You're correct. Because they're represented by the people in the phone who don't call them back. That's their elected members of Congress for them. That's their elected members because that's what they're based on. I'd be damned if I not tell you the truth about these things because it's not going to change. It's 2021 and people are going to be facing a lot of consequences, and all of this, what you think is easy and non-consequential things that's going to be coming your way within this environment are things that you should still leave alone. As a man, your decisions matter a hell of a lot more than theirs do. If you have value, you shouldn't be wasting your time on valueless people. If you actually have value, there is no way in the hell you should be worried about people who are not on your level. You shouldn't be worried about that. They never taught you about how fast you can go and how far you can go along with principle. They wanted the second end of the quote, but they wanted the opposite end of that quote. You can stay stagnant together if you sit down here with us. All you gotta do is go after the same women that we're going after. There was nothing wrong with MGTOW. The only thing that was wrong with MGTOW was the simple fact that those people who came in and wanted to try to make it look like chasing these people within the actual environment was somehow going to be able to help you out within the same environment. They're focusing on yourself, your own well-being, and your own outcomes, and going to a different environment that don't have these type of problems associated with it. It's something that you should be ashamed of. Sure will. Far past the point to where you'll be able to go to school to actually fix it. And that's the other thing. You are not to be carrying this failure in another time period. You are not to hide these people's failures from anybody. Yeah. Because in those situations, it more Red Pill 81 is that once they go through something so hard, they want to go to something that's super easy while missing the actual opportunity to get away from that situation altogether. It's easy to get the respect of somebody who created those circumstances for you. It's very easy to get those people respect. What's going on, woman in the past? Of course they can. They're too busy learning rap lyrics. But this is what we are within the environment. And you got to understand that you are going to have to be able to move forward without these people. The greatest part of winning is not giving a fuck about what people think about the people who lost. Most people who move from their homestead land in the middle of nowhere, who move to the actual big cities and make big money in Wall Street, they're not concerned about their family members who haven't made it. They're trying to protect their own wealth where they are. This is your chance to do the same thing everybody else is doing. You got to be able to maximize your life with the meritocracy principle. Everything you do within this environment will be added to you or subtracted to you from some point in time and period. Again, there's nothing wrong with the red pill. There's nothing wrong with the manosphere at all. It's just that other individuals have joined this space to turn it into something that is not for their own personal betterment. But I feel better, and my level of success is I care about outcome. Black, white, I don't care. Better outcomes. Because the people who care about better outcomes don't need to keep attending these conversations over and over again. They get to thinking straight. They start to ask simple questions to keep them on the path they're on, and they keep going up the hill. I guarantee you it's one of the easiest things that you possibly could have done. I thought about it too. Because I thought the bottom was so alluring myself. Yeah, sure did. And even though I live right across the street from the school, I took a friend of mine's mother about 2 miles away, catching me going home during lunch break to ask me where I was going. And why were you going there? Sat down and gave me the basic facts. Drove me to the other side of the city. Showed me what the other failures had turned into. This what you want? Get a dude $20. Tell him how you messed this all up. Yep, same age I was. Dropped out of school, started doing all this cool stuff, ended up going to prison, got out, couldn't get a job nowhere. There he was, out there, outside of a liquor store. Now the only thing he can do is holler at women that he's never going to be able to actually net, or hope he's going to be a couch surfer on some corporate woman's actual couch and household. This is how these people turn into that. Yeah. It's just that I was caught young enough to where I was taught the same lessons that I'm trying to teach now. And this is why the game is to be avoided. This is why you have to preserve your place within the society so that way you can be able to pass that on and pass that down. You should be the last person who go through what you went through. My grandfather didn't want me to be no damn sharecropper for somebody else. That was the easiest thing to be, is an employee working for somebody else. It's very easy to do that. Leave this place. Go see the world. Learn everything you can. And choose a path that you can be proud of and that I would be proud of. That was the simplistic advice. None of that stuff was hard to listen to. It was a hell of a lot hard to practice thanks to the people that I was around. But that's what we are. You can't normalize failure. Normalizing failure is an individual responsibility and goal. Normalizing failure. You can't normalize failure. You should normalize success, normalize a track record, normalize all these things. That's what you should normalize. You shouldn't be looking for the opinion of people's opinion that don't matter anywhere else outside the environment. You should know through introspection where this stuff ranks everywhere that it is. You should be trying to have your opinion be respected everywhere else except for here. There's no way I wanted to be on that side of the city forever. I go back down there now, same people sitting outside the liquor store. They look the same. The same. Go to the neighborhood, it's the same. People who never left, 2, 3 kids from people around the way, it's the same. Y'all working at Walmart or Kmart or Fred's or Burger King or McDonald's or Wendy's, that's their life, man. Sonic, that's their life. Or at the casinos, that's their life. They don't want to hear about you doing good. This is why I never tell them. I don't tell anybody anything when I go down there. They know I own the neighborhood, but no, like I don't tell those people anything. They can't handle hearing it. They can't handle hearing that somebody whose family lost the actual status in society due to not having life insurance, poorest kid around, turned out to be one of the best people that ever came out of the city. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear you doing good, but not better than them. Yeah, a lot of those people are doing that down there. Complain about immigration so that way they can take over those type of jobs. AO. I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. Skills can be learned, money can be made, moves can be made to get up out of those type of circumstances and environment. The game is to be avoided, man. The failures of yesteryear should be learned from, not practiced over and over again. Yeah, I know. That's why they're down there, to take those people's houses and retirements away from them. I know. People go up there with deeds to their house and gamble it off. Just all type of dumb stuff going on down there. When the only thing they had to do was just move to a different place and keep producing. This stuff can be overcame in less than a generation. It's going to be overcame by you, the practicing individual. Not them, the people who are waiting to be the beneficiaries of your hard work. You can't give it to them. You can't let your lack of sex within the environment make you think that you have to feed your actual productivity to people to actually regain all those things within the environment. Sometimes those things are to be avoided for a reason. Sometimes you're not part of that for an exact reason. Most of these people are trying to relive their relevance in high school because that was the highest time within their life that they had any type of relevance without any type of productivity associated with it. This is what the con is of Black America. They want you to think that a slick talking mago mumble rapper is going to get you by with this society. That's what this stuff is. But you got to be able to move forward yourself alone. Don't shortchange the chance that you've been given. Most of your life, you're not going to be celebrated for anything that you do. The only thing people are going to respect is the finished product. So this is why you need to become the finished product, and don't give it to people who don't respect you or respect the path or have an actual track record of doing so. This stuff is important. Very important. But the reason why most people in this environment cannot teach or tell you about those things within the society, within the environment, the reason why they can't do that is because they've never seen it themselves. And the only way that they want you to see it is that if you see it through their eyes, not see it through your eyes, you could change your vision to where you're going to actually be going in society. You don't have to do this. You don't have to play this game. You don't have to have the level of failure that these people have and try to celebrate their success. You don't have to do that. You're not going to ride the uncultured bandwagon to actual culture success. That's not how that works. If they're trapped with you, why would they give you information so that way you could be better than them? Because once you do better and once you start putting yourself in different societies and environment, the people are going to be there. The worst type of people that you're going to have access to are the people that you don't have to work for being around. Nobody tells you these things. Those things that you think are important clearly aren't. This is why you see damn near no women here in this type of environment, because they're not worth what I have to offer or what I'm trying to teach these men below me. And even if you were to give it to them for a singular point in time, they'll try to take it all away from you because they know that they're not worth it. You don't have to do this. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. If you want to go far, go together with equals. There's nothing wrong with crossing the finish line as the guy who did it right, as the guy who invested it right, as the guy who stayed out of trouble, did all the things that he was supposed to, who don't have any experience with these uncultured people, trying to have their relevance along with all that stuff. Advice. Most of that stuff is very important. And I am not with these dudes around here. I actually have something that I actually want to protect around here. That is your future from these people's future that you see before you. There is no reason on the planet Earth that guys who are younger or older than me are trying to keep these very basic and specific things away from you within the environment. There's no reason about letting these people know how this stuff is going to end out for them. There's no reason for it. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat. If people want to come up, they don't want to come up, that's fine. I'll just get out of here and move on to what I wanted to move on to. You have to realize that a lot of people are going to try to bum rush to space and try to tell you how they made it through this system when they actually don't have any type of receipts to show for it. I'm talking about real receipts. I'm talking about real outcomes, not temporary things that you get access to. You should be seeking to work with equals. What's going on, Top Dog?
Hey, what's up, man? Tomorrow. I was just gonna ask a quick question and then drop down. What's your opinion on like college as a whole in America? Because I'm kind of in a wrench right now, and it's like it kind of costs a lot, but I want to have a good return of investment if I do go to college. So I know I can't go for a crappy degree like general studies or liberal arts or something like that. I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. No, don't leave. You need to stay for this because I want to hear you back and forth for this. Renaissance man, I think I misspelled it, but you may want to correct it. But yeah, so what you have to understand that within now, you need to be working on skills and abilities. Like this is how you have to look at school, top dog. You have to look at I'm going to go to school for this type of skill that's going to be able to promote me here, right? So you have to understand that going to school just to get a degree is going to leave you broken. It's where you are right now. You know, you just have to be able to. Oh, now there's two of you. The dude with the F, make sure you rephrase your name, man. I'm gonna put you in the back so that way you can rephrase your name, so that way you can come back up. All right. So you have to look at like a lot of people within this space kind of down education. Yeah, AO just said it. Vocational school and technical school is better than going to school just to be going to school. You have to understand that you have to have it's best to go to these schools or to talk to recruiters up front, so that way you can know what you're actually getting at the end of the path. And I can give you my email so that way I could be able to guide you through this process, because a lot of these adults in these actual schools are just trying to hit numbers for you to actually go to school. So they wow you out with these PowerPoint presentations when it don't actually end up being anything that you're actually going to go towards. So you have to. Right.
Yeah, man. I didn't know that these high school counselors and stuff you said like they get extra pay for trying to shove kids into college.
Correct. I mean,
Okay.
like these recruiters at these schools are no better different than recruiters in the military who's trying to push you into infantry, but trying to dress it up as something else. You know, you have to understand that you're in school so that way you can have a future. You're not in school so that person can get a 5% bonus off of whatever you're going to school for. And you have to realize that most of these people, these counselors in these schools, are there to push the numbers through. They're not there to care about what you're actually doing. So you need to be thinking about what type of skill that you're getting from this actual education rather than just getting a degree to have one. So you need to connect. I'm going to go to school for this period of time to get this actual skill so that way I could be able to apply this skill somewhere. And they better have a track record of placing people, because they come at you with this scam of there's two things. There's job placement and then there's job placement assistance. Like job placement assistance is actually what you want from the school. If the school that you go to have an actual track record that is actually noteworthy and actually up to date, where business leaders actually respect what they're doing, you get placed in these actual places after you go to school. But like job placement means that you just got a degree and you maybe got a job at Walmart or something like that. So you did get employed. And this is why during the Obama administration, they tried to get rid of it, but they couldn't. And this is why it was just an explosion of college just to need to be having college. But I want you to go get an actual skill that you're actually going to use for the reason why you're going to school, because most of these skills can be gained without going to a 2 or 4 year program, because you're there for the skills. You're not there to give a damn about anything else but the Rolodex of the school. Like that's what the actual track record of the school is supposed to be, is the track record of how they have, and this is how this stuff go forward.
Okay. Thanks so much. And then also, I'm down in the South. I'm in Alabama. So I was thinking.
Have I talked to you over the phone?
Yeah, you talked to me over the phone. I had also mentioned about trades down here. What's your thoughts on should I go into a union as an apprentice or just go to trade school then come out?
Well, it depends on what trade unions are down there. You got to
Oh,
let me
okay.
know about the area down there because I can navigate those things better for you
Okay.
down there
Okay.
than you walking in. Because we need to have a couple conversations about what actual direction that you're actually going in, so that way you can be able to make the correct decision.
I was gonna add MOT. What's up, Top Dog?
What's up?
Um, no, I'm from Alabama as well. They are just because I have family members that work in state government. They are doing a lot of incentives and programs to try to get young people into the workforce, like job readiness training, things along those lines. I don't know what part you're in, but they're real
Oh,
big.
I'm in Birmingham.
Okay, okay. Um, I know. I know other areas. They're big on a lot of manufacturing type of things, manufacturing type of jobs, things like Honda, Hyundai, Mercedes down there by you in Tuscaloosa. I know there people are big on that type of stuff and recruiting that type of work. You just want to make sure you got a career path in that because I do know people who work at those jobs who, I mean, it's not bad pay and it's not a bad job. It's just they really once they get 10, 15 years in, they don't necessarily have a path unless you're going up to be a leader. So they look at things like that, but also lost my train of thought. Oh, I was going to say with your schools, if you decide to go to college, just as far as your major goes, look at things like the BLS Bureau of Labor and Statistics as far as what the demand is, and that'll give you a good idea of what type of salary if you go into something like electrical engineering or something like that. Um, what type of job prospects you'll have over the next 10 years, and what the job growth will look like in the average salary.
Yeah. Another thing you could do, Top Dog, before you even do any of that, is to Google the top hardest to fill jobs in Alabama, and you need to do that for the past 5 or 6 years to see if the actual list is the same for things that are there. So that way, if you want to leave home or not, at least you're pursuing skills that are actually able to be used within the environment where you're at. So it's better to have choices to what you're going to go into before you actually get too far into it and looking for choices out.
And
Yeah,
then another thing, I kept focusing too much on the salary. I noticed I kept focusing too much on the salary, like
Yeah,
just starting out. I think I'm trying to get over that now, but it's like when I want to become a electrician, I either want to become an electrician or a carpenter, and I'm looking at the different demands, looking at the different unions. I know I don't want to go to a non-union shop, but I'm just weighing my options right now, and I've been into contact with a few contractors and handymen with certifications and they're qualified. It's just it's like I'm down here in Alabama, and it's kind of like a different environment because I guess it's a right to work state, and they really don't like unions like that.
yeah,
But yeah, and then so I think either I'm right now mostly I'm either going to go to trade school or go to IBEW, the electrician union, and join as an apprentice, or I should go to community college. So that's like my three options right now.
all
But
right. Joseph, what's going on, man? Welcome to the panel.
Hey, what's going on, MLT and the panel? How you guys doing?
what's up?
so
I didn't want Top Dog to finish. I wanted Top Dog to kind of finish. I don't need to intervene and not like that. I don't have a pressing question, but if you want me to jump in and say what I have to say or just ask you about, I can do that. But I don't, Top Dog can continue and finish if you
I,
like.
I wanted to quickly say to Top Dog also, don't be I know a lot of people have the sort of the mentality of they don't want to move. Um, just don't fall too far into that mentality because there are a lot of opportunities, outside of Alabama as well. Me, I've lived in Atlanta and I live in right outside of DC right now. And it was the greatest thing for me was moving, because I got opportunities that I would never get by staying in Alabama, and I know friends that did, who, you know, that they're getting closer to being sort of almost pigeonholed in their career, and they're sort of looking on how they make that next move. So it's a prevalent mentality for people to want to stay, but I'm not saying you have to, but just be open to it.
All right. All right. Well, hold on a second. Can everybody mute up for a second? So, Preem, if I block you from my channel, why would you join my panel for any reason?
It is an honor and a privilege to be here among
Hey, man,
young black men talking about business.
Hey, man, can you answer my question?
Because I'm a benefit. Because I'm an asset.
All right, man. Let's get the conversation back on track. All right. So, what you were saying, Joseph?
Yeah, well, I guess Top Dog finished saying what he had to say, and then Renaissance Man just told him what he told him. But
Right.
I didn't want to kind of change the conversation from where Top Dog was going, because it looked like he needs a lot of some direction.
Yeah, I
and where he
didn't.
wants to be.
Yeah, I didn't really want to change MOT's topic of conversation either. I just, wanted the quick dialogue. But since we're in it, thanks so much for your responses. And yeah, I'm actually writing them down right now.
All right, Cedric Webb with the $25 super chat got some information for you as well. Keep dropping knowledge and want you the best field to get into: swim, trade school, military. Yeah, Mike brought up the fact that you could be able to get into the Peace Corps. They teach a lot of good skills, and you could be able to kind of ride that into a government job once you're out of it as well after you're done with that. So it's like, you got a lot of options, and we're going to work through that, because if you ain't got nobody out there trying to help you, I see no reason for you to try to you still got my phone number, right?
Yeah, I got your phone number. And I got your email too.
Yeah, well, just send me an email, man, so that way we could be able to get this on track. But like, a lot of younger people need to hear this, because like a lot of older people within the environment don't know how to give out this information. And it's not a problem that they don't know how to give it, but they don't know how to seek it out to give the best information for that as well. So
I noticed that some of them are stingy about like the career knowledge and stuff. Like they don't like, they had the gems. They tell you where to mine at, but they had all the gold in the mine. Yeah, that's what I see down here, at least my experience. Thanks, MOT.
I did want to say too, Top Dog. I know you said you talked about the salary and you tried to move away from that. I just wanted to say, yeah, you shouldn't necessarily pick a career just for the highest salary, but you should. That is smart on you to look and see to make sure the payoff is there on the back end. So don't throw that mentality away altogether, because that's how people end up in these situations like MOT was talking about, where they go and get a 4-year degree and then realize there's no market for it, or if they do find the market, it doesn't pay enough to make the degree pay off. So
Yeah. So MOT, what I wanted to ask you is that the topic that you had, the topic and everything you were talking about, it's really hard to. I wanted to know from you, like, this is a challenge that I'm facing, where I'm in a career, and I'm okay, and like now I'm starting to then go into some entrepreneurial roles, and I'm trying to meet like-minded and people with the same kind of ethics that I have, and it's, what I mean, like it's hard because, like, for instance, right, I'm an accountant, and all my accounting coworkers are just about accounting, but like I was able, because I kept on putting it out there, where I was at, like, hey, I want to go into an entrepreneurial role, and let's just say commercial real estate. I was able to partner up with a coworker of mine, and now we have some commercial real estate that's doing really well. But I'm just saying, like, in general, it's really hard to find people who, like my partner is a stranger, like we're not friends, but we've been able to become friends because the foundation had to be there, as far as like ethics goes, as far as like, hey, I'm not going to do anything to screw you over, because I'm going to mess up my professional license. You know what I'm saying? And we're able to work, create a company. The company is really successful, and it's just hard to find, like you said, like people like you, you know, because and work with each other, because the ethics needs to be there, and it's really hard, especially in this community. Even though my partner happens to be African American like me, but it's just hard to find people like that. And this YouTube is a gathering space where you can kind of seek those individuals, but still to kind of establish those relationships is a whole other thing, because you don't do business with a person just because you listen to them, or hey, I'm a good person, or hey, I'm an ethical person. Okay, yeah, let's do it now. So it takes time. So it's just kind of challenging, to
Yeah.
find those environments where that type of relationship can get established, and then things can flourish from there.
Yeah, but you have to realize why that's the case. As you can see, most people within this environment are trying to fake it till they make it, or trying to learn enough information and instantly screw somebody over. Like me, I learned most of the stuff I learned about the transportation industry by there's a guy, and he worked for JB Hunt, and he pretty much taught me everything about the industry. Everything about the industry. And the only thing I had to do for him is whenever he needed something done at a specific point in time, I had to go recover something for him that he could be able to fly me into a place and recover stuff, because he needed that more than the information that he was giving out. And I was like, well, I'll do this for you, but I'm not trying to take your job away from you. I just want to learn about the industry, because I think this stuff is really not that hard. And then he knew that, military background, I wasn't trying to screw nobody. Like, once you start to build those type of relationships, which take a while, this is why I keep harping on the track record, because people want to work with and mentor people who is going to be future equals within the society and environment. But most people look at it as the wrong way to look at it, as they get a little information and then they try to take them over or try to take them out within the environment. And this is how come you don't have the information that's truly shared within the environment. So as long as you come in there as an individual who's actually trying to learn, continuously trying to learn, you'll be able to break those barriers down. But it's just that since most people don't want to wait that long, because they got pressing stuff to actually get back to make money for, and all this kind of other stuff, that's what's going to separate you from most other people within the environment. Actually, me, I'm mentoring probably 14 people right now, doing the same thing. But at the end of the day, I had to make sure that this information that I give isn't going to be weaponized against me at some point. And you have to understand that in most of these environments, when you're actually meeting people, that's what they've been accustomed to within the environment when they're actually even trying to teach people, because everybody's trying to get over on people within the environment. So as long as you keep consistently going to that person and other people about how to get better at what you're doing, because the only thing a business owner is a highly effective employee plus salary and taxes. That's all it is. You're still going to have to be a highly effective employee and a highly competent employee, no matter where you're at within the environment that you're actually getting in. So, Original Man, thanks for the $20 super chat. Good stuff.
So Sub-Zero, sorry, my fault. So, man, it's all right. So, you talk about this thing that I read about all the time, or just hear about a lot, which is in our community, majority of our people, we have what's called the scarcity mindset, right? Meaning that, whoever's holding on to is a scarce resource. So we're going to clamor to them, take it, and then, like you said, right, weaponize it against them, because you're trying to pull it from them, because they think that it is the only, like what MOT got going on is the only game in town. Like, your business is great, and I know it's very successful, but like you said, like a person with a scarcity mindset is like a threat to you, because they would actually try to jeopardize what you got going on. Like those stories that I listen to you talk about, how like you got a business, you hiring your brothers, you're trying to hire your brothers, and they go and create a whole other business off of your business and destroy your business.
No, you're going in the wrong direction. Like, here's the way that you look at it. You're learning the skills to be an effective employee where you are. You don't tell them about your future plans. You just try to be more of an effective employee learning the actual system. You don't tell them about your end goal. You just learn the actual skills to be a more effective employee to help them out. Because once you go outside of what the actual primary job is, you start to think on the level as an actual operations manager. That's where all the information's at. Once you start thinking as a top level leader or operations manager, no matter what the context is, that's where all the actual information's at. You can't tell people about your end goal because most people, they don't want to see you move past them. And you can't tell them that kind of stuff at any point in time. You're just like, look, I just want to learn about the job, learn about the job. I just want to make things easier for you. I just want to learn about the position that I'm in. It's going to turn into everything that you just said eventually down the road. So that's another way to get past it. You can't tell people that you want to do all this other stuff because they really are not going to want to help you with anything if they know that you are a younger guy, given how age discrimination and all that kind of stuff works within the environment.
Yeah, I agree with that 100 times. I've made that mistake before and had people who were mentors push back or, show some resentment of things like that. And I wasn't even I was actually trying to go for something outside of their role. I wasn't even trying to be in their lane. And they still were kind of resentful for it because I wasn't even giving off the vibe of, hey, I'm trying to take your spot.
Yeah, because here's another thing, Joseph, that you don't understand. People eye talent. People eye talent all the time. And they're probably asking that guy, what about this guy right here? That guy's trying to learn everything. Maybe you should bring him in. And that guy could be trying to box you out if he knows what your end goal is. But if your end goal is still just to be an employee there, then you're not much of a threat to him, even though you're trying to still learn the same stuff. So you're still applying the same skills to try to learn how things operate, but you're not a threat to them where you still could be a part of management someday.
I wanted to say that, where I want to be has nothing to do with what I'm doing.
Correct.
What I did want to say is that, where do we go as individuals where we, and you're an entrepreneur and that's what you do for a living, right? But like, say for instance, myself, right? I do something for a living, but they don't know what I do as an entrepreneur because it's not enough for me to just walk away from it. But I'm trying to put myself in a realm where I can network with other entrepreneurs who have that same set of values I have, and then due to the fact that leveraging other resources, we can work together. Where's those environments? Where do those situations exist at? And it's completely, I own a commercial real estate, right? That has nothing to do with what I do for a living, So and also like trucking, it's very interesting to me. But again, I have to know what I'm effective at, and it won't be anything to do with driving a truck. It might be more on the back end, doing things with financing, doing things with analysis, doing things with operations. But where do I find out that environment where my skills, resources, and also capital, because I have, can be used and leveraged accordingly with a right group of people that wouldn't seem to take advantage of me? Because again, that's not happening, but I just don't know where those environments exist,
Yeah, but all this stuff have different paths and trees by itself. I can put my email in the chat and I can give you an overview so that way you can see where you want to go in this actual thing. But it's going to actually take choosing an actual path and moving forward with it, not just having the information just to be having it. You have to act on the information that I give you so that way you can be able to move forward with the actual information. All right, what's going on, Mike V? What's going on, man? Thanks for joining the panel.
Hey, peace to the panel, peace to the chat. Thank you for having me on. I'm just now coming into this, so I don't know where the conversation really is.
Okay. All right. So this is what I'm saying. No matter where you're going or trying to go, there's a path and a tree to and for that. And that's why I'm trying to open up a path so that way we could talk about how to actually get there and how to actually look at these opportunities, because a lot of these people are wasting a lot of time kind of going off into directions and there really is no focus on it. Like me, I'm not a commercial real estate guy. I'll tell you in a heartbeat that I don't know anything about commercial real estate outside of what I'm doing. Yeah, but that's what
He said he just kicked himself off by accident.
oh, sorry. All right, well, we wait for him to come on. It's just that all these things are particular paths you're going to have to research from beginning to end to kind of have to know what actually success look like within the environment, so that way you can have a particular path that you look at that makes sense, that's actually achievable, that you can actually follow. Because a lot of pie in the sky stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, MOT. I know you said you went to the business school as well. Did they? Because I'm going through my program right now. Did they really?
Camera's on, man. If you don't want your camera on, your camera's on. FJ.
Yep.
Yeah, your camera's on if you want it on. All right, there we go. All right, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask. One of the things that I've seen so far that they've instilled on us is if you like, they're big on like your alumni network, their alumni network. Like if you go through, they actually have like a book, and they actually recommend like, hey, if you see this person, you know, and they're in like a firm or a role that you aspire to be in, they recommend you reaching out to that person. They're like, some people will be receptive and some won't. I don't know what your thoughts on that are. That is, if you have like an alumni network to from your school, or if your school emphasized that.
No, I mean my school is a pretty much business school overall, and which pretty much has nothing to do with transportation. They're more finance people and all that kind of stuff. There's really nobody I could go to for. I kind of am the person who they come to for me if somebody's trying to do something on the back end for that, you know, and that's how they kind of run it, you know. So.
Yeah, and that's, same thing here. Like the people that I want to work with, we're few and far apart, man. Hold on a second, I got a printer's printing something out. But the people I want to work with, we're few and far apart, man. School I went to, granted, like I'm not. How do I say this? I want to work with my own people. And the school I went to, I was like the only person that looked like me. Where
all right, well, you need to stop right there. Let's stop right there. Like when you're working with equals within your environment, Joseph, you have to understand it is a 1% chance that you got into that school and got out. You're gonna have to work with other people, man. You're gonna have to work with other equals within the environment and bring the people back in at some type of later time, but you got to lose that ability to think that that's a possibility for you to go forward strictly from that point. Your job is to be successful. Like when you get an actual company, your job isn't to hire everybody from the neighborhood. Your job is to make sure that you put forth an effective product with the best people that you possibly could. And you cannot waste positions within your company more than 5 or 10% on highly untested people within the environment. You got to be able to understand that an effective outcome is better than black input.
Yeah. I was gonna say that that's very true as well. It's I know the feeling because I've been there as well. But MOT is right in the sense of once you get into the into something that's very competitive and people need skills, it's going to boil down, can you do the job or not, or these people do the job, and people just, they're in the mentality of, hey, I need someone who can do the job. It's actually, I know we're taught that, but that mentality in business is actually dangerous. If you just bring in a bunch of people who think like you, or you like, or your friends, you need a balanced organization of people who will tell you that you're dead wrong, people who are peacekeepers. It's just, you need that right dynamic, because it can go terribly wrong if you just get in, you're successful, and bring in everyone who thinks like you or looks like you or is from the neighborhood.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean as far as from the neighborhood, because I don't live in the neighborhood no more. But like right now with my existing business, and it's probably like that with most people who own their businesses that are African American or Black or whatever you want to call yourself. You try to work with someone that is like you. I always like I run my operations out in Georgia, and I always look to hire someone like me, but that's not the only criteria you can say. Let me know if my printer's making too much noise, because I'll just wait until it's done and then I'll start talking again. But like I was just saying, I look to always try to hire someone that looks like me, but if someone else is more effective, or cost effective, or whatever they do, actually not necessarily cost effective, I can work around that. But as long as if someone else is more effective or comes across more thorough, I will work with them. I'm not stupid. You know what I'm saying? I got a profit. I have a business to run and to make sure it's successful. But at the same time, I always do try to hire my own first, and I got to work with some people around the edges, then I got to do that. But I do always prefer to work with my own initially.
Yeah. Are you based out of Georgia?
I don't live in Georgia. My operations is in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you live in a globalized society, so you're going to have to accept the fact that non-Black people are actually at the forefront of all of this transition, and trying to cater and create this sort of solidarity within your own is almost a fool's errand, so to speak. And so, got to get used to the idea of dealing with multiple different ethnicities and cultures, as well as being multinational and global, because we live in a globalized economy, and that's just the way it is. I think far too often Black people get caught up in the solidarity politics, and find out hard that that's actually costing them more time wise than it is than what they're getting productivity wise.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying, Mike, is only going to accelerate in the next 10, 20 years with the world becoming more globalized.
No, consider 2 years, maybe 9 months, because of the economy opens back up, and everything goes right back to or moves in the direction that a lot of people were not prepared for.
And I was going to add, I know we talked about it on the brain trust, when you start thinking, multinational, the apprehension that we sort of have here domestically of working with people is just, the history of racism and things like that. But, multiple brothers have always said, when they go abroad, it's just a lot easier to get things done, to do business. And, truth be told, all the ones that I've ever talked to in person who have been abroad have honestly said they really didn't want to come back. So, don't limit yourself to the US. That's something I think too many of us do.
Yeah. Yeah. I have the same exact experience. I got people in India, people in Vietnam, Taiwan, Cambodia, people all the way down in Venezuela who were saying, hey, we love to do business with you, love to bring you down. Let us know when you're going to be available. This was before COVID. And so this is where we are right now. We got to accept the fact that we live in a globalized society, in a globalized economy, and that's being interconnected with multiple different ethnicities and cultures is going to be important.
Your camera's on, MOT. He may have froze.
Hey, well, MOT fixes stuff. I just wanted to kind of mention that, you know, in the economy that we live in, like, I don't want to try to like go into different tangents, but there's a lot of successful and a lot of efficient and effective African Americans out there, and I think that um, we it's easy to just like, hey, what accountant you use, and boom, just get any person that is of another source, just another race or whatever it may be, just because they're just abundant, but black, highly skilled, highly effective professionals exist, and like most people on this panel, especially Mike, MOT, I love the fact that in this environment we could come in and talk to each other, but it's just that we're not a lot, but we do exist, and just the constant network of like, yo, who do you use and who do you work with in regards to tax, in regards to insurance, in regards to contractors, using that like leaning on that kind of network of people will allow us to keep that dollar within our own more so often than just like, hey, I'm just gonna do, I don't want to say the easy thing, but I'm telling you, we exist, right? We exist. And not to say that we shouldn't work with others, because I it's so easy. It's easy. Like, all my guys, like when I first started, everyone was whatever. But as far as time goes on, I'm trying to find like those very skilled, highly effective people like me to work with, because I am always in like, to an extent, in the back of my head, trying to keep the dollar within our own a couple times before it has to go out, because I know it goes out. Like my landscaper, who has a big contract from me, he is what he is. He's not, he's like a, I don't want to spew out, negative sentiments, but he's effective at, my landscape. It's on point. My stuff got to be on point because I have commercial tenants. But again, whenever I can get like, okay, let's say my insurance guy. Now my insurance guy is a guy who's super smart, effective, and talented. So I'm switching that over. But I'm just saying, like, it's hard to find those networking groups of people where you can find those people that you can put in place in your organization that you can break bread with, and keep the money within if you can.
I was going to ask you, Joseph. Are you a CPA?
I don't know why I'm freezing up. Okay, hello, can you hear me?
A little bit. You broke up a little bit.
Just in case you guys.
It's breaking up, man.
All right, there we go. I'm breaking up a lot now. I'm an auditor. My partner is a CPA.
Okay. I was going to ask you.
Question.
No. I was gonna mention. Have you looked at? I don't know if they do much. Do they do much post graduation? But the National Society of Black Accountants.
Yeah, I'm part of that.
Okay.
NABA.
No, he's breaking up. Going to have to move on.
No. He said he was part of it. That's all. That's all I was asking. That's just from me being in school. That was one of the things they pushed to the accountant majors. So that's all I was going to bring up to him.
All right, Mike, what's going on, man?
He may have stepped away. We were talking though while you were getting set up. He just talked about we were in a global world and moving beyond just the thought process of you having to just work with your own because sometimes that can set you back. So we were just expounding upon that point.
I'm back now.
All right, so we gotta be able to close up here because I got some other things to move on to. So you got any last words, Joseph? All right, we can't hear him. Any last words, Top Dog?
Thanks MOT for having me on the panel, and thanks for giving me more information about different careers, and more advice about how to get through in life and making good decisions. Also, thanks everyone else to the panel that gave me good information too. MOT, I got your Patreon and I got your email. I'm probably might email you tomorrow. So all right. Thanks.
All right, last words, Red Sox man.
Nah, I'm good. I'll catch up with you a little bit later, MOT. Enjoyed the panel. Nice change of discussion.
Yeah, all right, cool. No, I want to thank everybody for coming through for this live stream. You guys have a real nice day. Peace.